Loose Leash Walking using the Stop Cue and the Walk, Run, Stop game by Nancy Yamin, mutsbetter.com. Here is some video of Lucy walking before we started. Loose leash walking consists of two parts. Part 1, standing with a loose leash. Part 2, walking with a loose leash. The hardest part about loose leash walking is learning not to pull on the leash. The method described to teach standing with a loose leash is a T-touch method of working with dogs. Please visit ttouch.com for more information about Tellington T-touch. Part 1. Standing with a loose leash. 1. Hold the leash 3 feet from the dog. 2. Keep your hand at the same spot on the leash. 3. Move up to the dog's shoulder. 4. Now gently release the pressure on the leash by moving your hand with the leash in it slowly towards the dog. The first part of loose leash walking is just teaching the dogs to stand on a nice loose leash. And see how she's pulling? What I want to do is I want her to be able to stand around with no pressure on the leash. And if we pull back against the leash, we trigger that oppositional reflex, which makes them pull stronger against us. So what we do when they start to pull, and I have my clients do this the first week, they go on their normal pulling walks, and then they just stop every couple of minutes and bring the dog back into standing in balance. And the way we do that is, and I just wanted to get this on film, that she does not stand in balance when she's standing around. She pulls and fidgets and gets all the way to the end of the leash till it's tight. If we're behind the dog, we trigger that oppositional reflex where they're stronger, like that. What we want to do is keep the leash at the same length, move up to their neck, to their shoulder, and then slowly take the pressure off the leash. And when we take the pressure off the leash, it means our hand stays in the same exact spot, and we just move our whole hand with the leash in it towards the dog. So you see she has pressure, and here I bring her back into that balanced position, taking the pressure off the leash. Now she's standing in a nice loose leash. This could take 10 or 12 times to do, especially on a bigger dog, because they're so used to using that leash to pull that we have to keep showing them that they can stand on a nice loose leash. Points to remember. Any tension on the leash will trigger the dog to pull harder. Remove any tension on the leash by moving your hand with the leash in it slowly towards the dog. This is easiest with a shorter leash while standing up near the dog's shoulder. At this point, we are simply learning not to pull on the leash while we are standing still. Instead, we loosen the leash whenever there is any pressure on it. This is a very difficult habit to break and will require some patience. Just take a few steps and stop. The goal is to bring the dog back into balance when they stop, so they are standing with a loose leash. At this point, it is okay if the leash is tight while walking. We are only working on standing with a loose leash. And stop. Beautiful. That was beautiful. Look at that. No pulling or anything. And stop. Beautiful.
Good girl.
Isn't that nice? Part 2. Walking with a loose leash, using the Stop Cue and the Walk, Run, Stop game. The second part of the loose leash walking is, now that the dog can stand in balance without any pressure on the leash, we want to be able to take a couple steps on a nice loose leash without it getting tight. And some of the other ways that we used to do it, we waited for the dog to get to the end of the leash and stopped, waited for him to get to the end of the leash and stopped. And all that did was teach him to pull until the leash got tight. What we do now is we want to have a lot of successions of a few steps in a row on a nice loose leash. Teaching the Stop Cue tells the dog what you want them to do. This allows successful small increments of loose leash walking while both sides are learning their new skills. Teach this by taking 2 steps and then saying stop. The moment the dog stops moving, mark it by saying good. Then say walk and start walking again. Walking becomes the reward for stop. Variation for reactive dogs. If your dog is reactive, Say yes when they stop. This will make them look towards you for their food reward. You may then give a treat and keep rewarding for attention or eye contact before saying walk again. Place 7 traffic cones 3 steps apart. Say stop at each cone. When the dog stops, say good, then say walk. After practicing this a few times, remove every other cone and repeat. I'm going to have you start at one cone and you're going to say walk, and then when you get to the next cone, say stop.
And then walk again.
When she stops, say good, and then tell her walk.
Okay.
So we'll just do it from cone to cone.
All right.
Tell her walk. And stop. And stop.
Stop.
Good.
Good.
And walk.
Stop.
Nice.
Stop.
Nice. That was beautiful. Learning the run cue. Say run and take a few running steps. Then say stop, and the moment the dog is still, say good. Then say run and start running again. The secret to success is only take a few steps, then say stop. This keeps the dog focused on you. This also helps the dog to stop before they get ahead of you.
Stop. Good girl.
And then say run, so she has a reward for stopping.
Stop. Oh, do you like that? Stop.
Nice.
Yeah, come on. Lucy, walk. Stop. Oh,
That was brilliant. Did you see it? Was that great?
Walk. Stop.
Good girl.
Girl. Walk.
Thank you for watching. I have tried this method with quite a few clients and the results have been amazing. Folks are able to walk with their dogs on a loose leash within just a few minutes. As the teams get better at this, they will be able to take more and more steps before saying stop. They will not have to say the word walk and may also fade out stop if wanted. After just a little bit of practice, the dog learns to walk when you walk and to stop when you stop. Of course, you can still make it into a fun game anytime you want by calling out walk, run, or stop.